Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Musings by Nikki. I am here today, finally, after what feels like, again, another long absence, with 3 journals. And these are a design team project that I am just finishing now for Tracie Fox Creative. It is one that I have had on my desk for what seems like eons, and I am finally done with them. But I also really like how these turned out, so I'm very excited to show them to you. I have 3 journals, and I will tell you the kits that I used. I do not have the label for this one, but I used her Compendium MK3 and the add-on with the ephemera. Those are the main kit pages and stuff that I've used in here. I have also used the bumper florals. So I used the full bumper florals kit, and you'll see that kind of throughout here as well. And then I've used her fill in random labels and the really random color labels set too. Those are the main kits. However, anytime I do a Tracie Fox project, anytime I do any project, I have a tray of just random pieces and leftover bits of stuff from other Tracie kits and her labels and stuff. So you'll see maybe some of that spread throughout. But those ones that I just showed you, and they will be linked below, are the main kits that I have used to complete these 3 journals. They are great kits. I cannot say enough about the Compendium kits. They are worth your money. If you have just a couple bucks to spend on a kit, these will get you so much mileage. They're so great. They match all kinds of themes. They're a great base layer for making cards or craft projects. They're so versatile and usable, and so I love them, and I've used them in a lot of different ways, and this is the most recent way that I've used them. So I am going to go through in the order I made them, 1, 2, 3, and we'll flip through these. They are kind of this and that journals. They've got a little bit of stuff in them. The second one is a little bit more botanical, just kind of, that's the direction I took it. And it's structured a little bit differently. This one is 3 signatures. It is, I've used an old, a vintage Reader's Digest cover for this one. It's this gorgeous kind of burnt orange hue. As I sewed through the binding, I put a bunch of vintage buttons along that seam. I've got all kinds of bits and pieces of different kinds of fabric tabs and stuff. I filled this one with fabric tabs, laces, sari silks, some Tim Holtz fabric washi, ribbon, some vintage measuring tapes. Yeah, there's just a ton, and I love a fluffy side like this. And this one, you can hardly even see the pages through it because there's just so much fluffy goodness. And then I have and you'll see these a little more close up as we get to these pages, but I've got like a hand crocheted long strip that must have been cut off of a pillowcase. And so I've got the edging, and that made some pockets. Yeah, I love how this turned out. The back is just the plain cover. And on the front, I've used a gold embossed Tim Holtz frame backed with some cheesecloth. And then this is one of Tracie's random fill-in labels, and then some Tim Holtz words that say embrace the chaos. Because that's kind of how this book felt at times. Man, I have been sick. My family's been sick. We've had the sicknesses roll through our household. So this has felt like it is a long time coming here. But here we are. On the very first page, you can already see a page of the MK2 or the Compendium kit. All the Compendium kits are great. She's got a festive one out now. That's great. In one of my previous videos, I made a bunch of tags out of bases that I cut from master boards, and then I've decorated them up with pieces of the bumper florals, some of her random labels, and some Tim Holtz words and such. So you'll see several of these collaged things kind of throughout, tags throughout. And then the random fill-in labels too. They're so great. They're all just, again, they're very random and it works really well. In those compendium kits, and you can see I used it as the paper here too, you get background papers that are kind of like just a wallpaper. Those work great for backing the pages with. And then you get a bunch of pieces like this in that compendium kit. This is one of her tags. And I've used some Tim Holtz stamps throughout this as well. This book page pocket that's sewn on. I've done a ton of sewing in this book. Here's a flip out envelope. And in here is a piece of ledger, old ledger. And I just made it into a little journaling, flip open journaling card. You're gonna have to bear with me here. My fingers, a couple of them are in fits, having fits today. It's just not the thing. It's not their day. I've used washi in a lot of places and some patterned paper, lots of little old bits of vintage lace. One of the last boxes that I got from my friend Stephanie, who gives me stuff from her mom Dorothy, had all kinds of little bits of lace. That's where the pillowcase edging came from. So here's some denim on that one. I've used 4 different colors of thread as I've sewn around things. This is a piece from the guts of this book that I took out, and I liked the picture, so I sewed it on. So I can show you here. I've used, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see these colors in the video, but I have used a yellow, a baby blue, kind of this salmony pinkish red color, and an off-white color as my 4 thread colors, and I've sewn with all of them all the way through each one of the books. Here are some of those Tracie's random color labels. This is one of the little envelopes that comes with the add-on kit. This is a page out of a Raphael book that I have, the artist, and I just made a big pocket for this tag. Some labels. I've been loving just tearing the edges off of the when I make a flip out like this, and then sewing over the edge. I just like the way that looks. Some lined paper and a big kind of ribbon tab there. I've used some Tim Holtz washi throughout as well. And then on the seam binding, that got all twisted. There we go. Here's a little bee and some glass beads. Each one of them is slightly different. These are some postcards that I got from my friend Amy. Hello, Amy. A long time ago. It was a big box of them, and I think it was for my birthday. And there are a ton of them in there, so I've been slowly working through some of those. You'll see them, several of them in this one, in these books. Here's some vintage lace that's just sewn over the edge. Some crocheted lace. Burlap ribbon. And then there are just these random labels that say things like latest novelty, which I just think is fun. I've done a little bit of fancy stitching in places too. And here is the first of those pockets. So it's got the crocheted lace, and I think this was a pillowcase edging at some point. So I've got a journaling card in there. I've done some book stamps. This one's got 3 tabs. You get these little rectangles in the add-on kit. There's a whole bunch of sewing in all the different colors on this one, which means that you get this big fluff of threads on the bottom too, and I think that just adds to the prettiness. If you don't like all the threads, you can certainly cut them off, but if you cut off all the threads, you'd still have all the lace and bits and stuff everywhere else. So I think it just adds to the total overall appeal. In between the two signatures here, we've got some crinkly packing paper pockets that have some vintage measuring tape on them, and a couple of tags. This tag is backed with, it's a master board that I made with a bunch of scraps of music paper, and it's backed with a full sheet of one of Tracie's fussy cut butterflies. So the fussy cut sheets, you don't always have to use them for fussy cutting. You can do things like that with them as well. Here's another just collaged up tag from some tag bases that I cut up. This one, let me check. This one has 132 pages, and it measures 5.5 by 8. This is some more vintage lace that I got. It looked like it was maybe a collar or something, and I cut some of that up and made pockets. Here's another piece of that pillowcase. This is some lace that I got that looked like it had been cut off maybe a dress or a shirt collar or something. Here's a flip out. And in one of the compendium kits, you get a bunch of squares. They're like 2-inch squares. And I've glued them down and sewed across like this, right? And essentially quilted the card so it looks kind of like a quilt card. It's a great way to use up the squares into kind of assemble them into one larger piece. So that is tucked inside of this book page pocket flip out here with one of the, this might be Bumper Florals or Compendium, I don't remember which all comes from which kits. Here's a flip out envelope with some more decoration on the front and some of her labels and some vintage lace behind it. This is another part of that Compendium background papers, as is that. This is some of my daughter Joy's paper that she makes me. Here's another one of those big cards. That's an avocado plant. And there's the beautiful swans from a book page behind that. And then this fits into this torn out pocket here. This is from a nature book, a floral book. And on the center of this one, we've got a little tree charm and a little whimsical mushroom glass bead and some other glass beads. This is some embossed tracing paper and another one of the quilted cards. It goes down in there. Another one of Tracie's labels. I just made a big belly band here and stuck this very pretty gardenia postcard behind it. So kind of botanical, huh? This one's got some floral influence in it for sure. These are 2 envelopes that come in the kits. They both have little pieces of ephemera in them, and they're both also made into pockets. This has some of Tracie's tea cards in the top, and side loading into this pocket here is another one of the little tags. It says Good Fortune, and this is a cut off piece of vintage, I don't know if it came off a garter or what it came off of, but it's a little piece of ribbon up on top there. Another half tab with some sari silk tabs and some photo corners holding on some paper here. These are vintage dictionary and encyclopedia pages in here. And some pretty lace along the edges of the pages. Another page with some photo corners on. This says miscellaneous items. This is another one of her really random color labels. Here are some vintage pieces of measuring tape used as tabs. This is a piece of very thin paper that was protecting the carbon on an old order form page booklet thing. Here's another floral postcard, and then here's one of the little file folders that you get with the kit. These are some of Tracie's fussy cut florals. They're either from Bumper Florals, you get some fussy cuts with that, or they're from her fussy cut floral pages, which are another great investment. I use them all the time. Here's a mini pocket with a T card and one of the small tags. And then in this larger one, you get some of these background pieces, and they're great to collage on and use as pockets or use as journaling cards. You get some of these doubled, like fold closed, so you can fold them and glue them together, or I like to use them as flip out pockets. And I've put one of the tags in there and punched a little thumb hole. Here's another one of those. This time I lined the inside with some old, this is from a photo album, I believe, that I lined it with, and then sewed around the edges to make a little journaling card, a little journaling pocket. And then here is a kind of a crazy sewn tag, collage tag with some little windows in. That goes into this pocket. That has some vintage lace hanging off the bottom. So I tried to hang stuff off the bottom and off the edges just to give it that full fluffy, you know, look that I love. Here's some really cool cutout washi that I have with some pretty red and pink flowers on it. This is another layered pocket here that has some of those pieces of ephemera from the kit. And I've collaged and put some of them sideways and put little thumb holes in to make pockets on this page, and used some of the labels on top of them. And that is all on top of some more of the compendium paper. There again. There's another one of the little file folders, journal spot. In this torn book page pocket. And then you get some little circles and some little rectangles, and these pieces work great for layering behind things like that, behind a label, just to give some additional, you know, qualities. Or here I've just collaged a couple pieces together. They just work great for little hints and bits, you know, stuck throughout the book. And then these labels are just great. This is some Tim Holtz washi. There's some ledger. This is a little bag that I copy stained, and it's got one of my collaged up tags in it. This is another piece of that pillowcase, and it actually had this big chewed, looks like it ripped up somehow, which actually worked perfectly to create a secondary pocket to put this file folder in. And then in the big pocket, I have one of my giant tags here, and I've folded one of the floral fussy cuts around. I've been enjoying doing that so that I get some on the front and the back. To share the back of the tag, get some stuff too. I've got some envelope full of vintage stamps that I've been kind of spreading throughout. Here's some more old lace on there. Some stamping that says noted up in the corner. Here is another one of those big tags that I made with a pull-out. This one says, "One today is worth 2 tomorrows." Some more of that vintage lace that maybe came off of a bottom of a dress or something. I don't know. It's really pretty. It's got the folded pleated look to it. So I just put that at the bottom of a card here so it would hang pretty in the journal. These are some of Tracie's random numbers as well. And those are another great addition to just put something in a corner of a blank page. just to add, again, some texture. There's a flip up journaling spot. Here are a couple of pieces from the bumper florals that I've stitched on as pockets, and they've got tags in right here and here. And then that is the back cover here. The spine is reinforced with book tape and with fabric, and there's my maker's mark. So that is this first one. This one again is called Embrace. This one will be listed as Embrace. It is 5.5 by 8 and it's 132 pages. Then I made this next one, and it is somewhat similar, but just slightly different in its construction. It has 2 signatures, and then it has a flip out in the front and a kind of a file folder in the back, which you'll see when we get there. It does, again, on the spine have some buttons through when I sewed it on. This one says Find the Joy in the Ordinary, and this one is going to be called Find Joy in the Listing. It has 88 pages, and it is still, though, 5.5 by 8. It has all the lovely fluffiness, the tabbiness, just not as much because there's only 2 signatures. And then it does have some fun stuff on its signatures, ties as well. This one's a kind of a lovely baby blue, maybe, and navy. And then it's got a piece of, behind its label here, it's got a piece of old lace corner. So when we open this one, I use some vintage hanging file folders to make this big flip out, very sturdy envelope here. And this you can open. And in here, I just have a tablet of some coffee stained papers that are sewn together up at the top. Of course, you could put all kinds of stuff in here. So that closes, and you can just wind it shut. So that's at the front, and like I said, that's a big flip out. And then here's the original Ex Libris from this book. I have a vintage bingo card. I believe these maybe came from my friend Emily. Hi, Emily, if you're watching. And then this is some more of that compendium paper, and this is a fussy cut from Bumper Florals, I'm pretty sure. And then, like I said, this one is similar, but maybe a slightly more floral or botanically kind of. I've put some of these little vellum florals throughout as well. A lot of the same types of elements and labels, a lot of stitching throughout this one. I've got some of these tags that I made. These have some gold lace on the bottom here. Bumper florals there. Another one of the quilted tags. This is a little wax seal down here with some flowers on it, shiny pink and rose colors. This is one of the tags from Compendium that I turned into a flip out. Just an extra space to journal or stick a picture or something. And then I've put some of the fussy cut florals and a label and a tab on there. And I've used Tim Holtz fabric tape to make the hinge. This is some more of that lovely compendium paper. You see how it can just, you can match all kinds of themes. That's awesome. In the center of this signature, I've made a big pocket sewn with a couple of book pages here, and it's got a lovely postcard, and I've put one of my vintage stamps on there and some vellum florals taped on. Some more of that pretty laser cut washi. This time I used a tag as a flip up. So I just folded over the top of the tag to create a little hidden journal space back there. Here's another one of those book page fold outs, and it's got a tag in it and some of the bumper floral on the front. Here I've taken another one of those lined where I lined it and sewed around the edge and turned it into a little journaling booklet. And then I've used a very sturdy vintage steel paper clip. Boy, they do not make paper clips like they used to. These things, they are strong. Some more of those vellum florals. Another postcard. Here is a big tag that I made. I made this one on a TikTok video, one of my first TikTok videos. And then it's got, I sewed on later on here some lovely fluffy lace trim. This is a big pocket made out of a piece of junk mail. And here are some orchids on a lovely postcard. I made a couple of these round Wendy tags. Since you get these round punch outs, I just made a couple of the round tags that I sewed around and have attached in a couple places. That inspiration, that's an old school Wendy trick. Here are a couple more of the tags that I folded over these tags and made them into flip out journaling spaces. And then they also add some edge interest on this page. You can also sew them down and create them into tuck spots as well. I've done that before. This is a piece of a page from the guts of this book when I gutted it and loved these bees and morning glories here. So I ripped it out and turned it into a pocket for this tag. And on the back, there's a couple of these pockets. This is from a freebie page that if you are a member, if you go sign up to be a member of Tracie's website, she's got some freebies on there, and she just posted a really generous some Christmas freebies as well. But this is from an older freebie on there. There were a couple of pockets. Here's another one of those quilted tags from the Compendium squares. Here's folding some flowers, a floral fussy cut around the page again. And one of the envelopes from the Compendium. And one of the tags that I made. This is fussy cut from, I think it was like a calendar. Another big tag, and this is some more of that pillowcase pocket that I made there. Another round tag. Oh, and these signature, they have, there's a little mushroom, there's a little tree with some birds and a flower, and then a bunch of glass beads. This is an altered clothing tag that is sewn onto the tab, and it just fits down into this envelope here. Some more vellum florals. It's another piece of that vintage lace, and it's just sewn behind a piece from Compendium. Here's a big tag that has a lace pocket on the front with another tag inside of it. Vellum florals. This has got a little paper clip hanging off of an eyelet. Here's another envelope tuck spot. Some of my lace dyed papers. This comes from Tracie's kits. This is that background paper from Compendium. And that is the back of the signature. And then there is this little file folder that I created from, again, some more of that vintage hanging file. So you can open this up. And inside of here, it's an accordion folder, right, that I kind of folded down and figured out how to make work. And I've just stuck some extra bits in here. A journaling card. This is a tag with a pocket with some little T cards in it. And a couple of more of the quilted cards. And then a cactus postcard. So there's some extra bits of ephemera stuck in here that you could leave in here. There's definitely room to expand and put some more stuff in there, and then it just winds shut like so. So that is attached right to the back cover here. And like I said, it's an accordion folder, so there is room to expand that out if you wanted to. So this one, again, will be called Find Joy. And then lastly, I ended up with, of course, no big surprise, I ended up with like extra signatures because I decided to do that one a little different. And so I ended up with a bunch of extra pages and some extra piece of this hanging file. So I made this little portfolio style journal here. And this one is not very decorated at all. It was basically kind of like one of my end of the project projects where I was just using some of the bits and pieces that I had left on my desk. I have used some pieces of Tim Holtz paper to line this and reinforce the hanging file here. So that's what's on the inside here. And then it's just leftover pieces from my signatures that I was making for those books. This one will be called Portfolio in its listing. It measures 6 by 7 3/4, and it has 128 pages. So if you're a writer or you like to scrapbook or something, this one's going to have a lot less decoration, so more space. If you just want a writing journal, it would also, because of the way it goes, it would be great for tucking into something or purse, or if you wanted to carry it along with you. I gave you a little envelope with a whole bunch of the leftover write-on or fill-in tags and the really random color labels and such. So you could definitely stick these throughout the book as you saw fit. Those are just tucked up here. Then in the front is a library card in this library pocket that I made from the scrap cutoffs of this hanging file. And then this is another one of the pockets from that freebie. And like I said, I have just in a couple of places made some pockets and tucked in a couple of pieces of ephemera or tags. This is mostly, I do have some of these vellum florals throughout. It is sewn, like, I've sewn around the edges of these and such. But this is, for the most part, just a fairly blank journal. A little envelope that's got a piece of ephemera in it. Some vellum florals. Compendium. Here's one of those lined folders, writing folders. So it does have some bits and pieces, just not a ton. And if you wanted to do a lot of your own decorating or making your own pockets and such, this could be a great piece for that. I did include some of these tags. They're clipped in. You could move them wherever you wanted to inside of this journal. You could take them out and move them into a different journal. I had a couple of the little circle pockets left, so I put those in. Some mushrooms. Here's a pocket with some vellum pocket, like a little peep. And there we go, so you can see the flower through there. Some of my lace stained papers. Here's another piece from that calendar that I cut out and made into a little pocket. And this is a tag pocket on a tag. It's a tag with inside a tag. With a little piece from Tracie's kit and some of her fussy cut bumper florals. Some more of that botanical book. So yeah, this is pretty. Got some flowers, got some compendium. There's nothing on hanging out of this one at the binding. It's just a single signature. Here's another tag that's been clipped in. So if you were somebody who wanted to have a starting point and decorate a journal on your own, this would be a great option. I like that page. I love the greens. I like the illustrations in that book. It definitely lends itself to like a florally kind of feel, but it's got a lot of sewing, so there's a lot of texture, and I love that. Here is a pocket with a tag, and then there is a side pocket here as well. Some mushrooms. Another little round tag pocket. There's another tag that I've sewn and collaged on. It's got that gold lace on the bottom. A file folder clipped over the edge of this page. These are some vintage, these are called X clips, I think. Something like that. I love them. I wish I had a whole bunch of them. Some old graph paper. Here's a little envelope, and I tucked a few remaining tags and a T-card in there. T-cards are great if you're decorating journals. They work great as something to add onto the corner of a page or tuck in a little pocket. You can write a little quote on the back or a date or something. Tracie's got a bunch of really great T-card kits. And one more pocket with one more tag, and then my Maker's Mark Tim Holtz paper on the back of this one. And then that folds over. There is some room to expand, although probably not a ton, because I, only could make it so big with what I had left over. And then this just goes around and around. And tied on the end of this is a little tag that says lot number 35. It's a little Tim Holtz thing. So these three, I hope that you've enjoyed them, maybe found some inspiration, maybe fallen in love with one of them. They will be in my shop when this video goes live. They will be in my shop. If they're not there, that means they're sold, and thank you very much. I hope that you've enjoyed them. And now that these are done, I am looking so forward to starting in on, even though it's day 11 and we're almost halfway through the month, I really need to do some catching up, but I can't wait to work through my December daily kit, Tracie's December daily tags, and I will be doing one of the videos coming up later on, very close to actual Christmas. I thoroughly look forward to it. I've been dreaming about that, but needed to get these off my desk. I've made it through this video without hacking and coughing, but boy, this is one of the first days that I've been able to do that because, like I said, we have been sick. We've been going through it over here. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you are not sick. I hope you're healthy and able to go do something fun, get outside, sit in your studio and be creative, read a book, do something that you love and enjoy, be with the ones that you love. And until I see you again very soon, I hope that you're well and stay safe and take care. And God bless you. Bye, everybody.